Hello, my name's Ben,
And my name's Josh.
and welcome back to FPL Graduates. Welcome back to another video where it's a matter of days between game weeks at the moment. We've had three in the matter of 7 days. Let's get into the transfer targets for game week 32 and let you know who we think you should be planning to bring in to your FPL teams.
Kicking off into the defenders, we've got Rayan Ait Nouri up first, and the guy's just relentlessly scoring goals at the moment. Obviously, he's picked up another goal against Burnley. Could have had two, probably, realistically, in that game. Really good attacking asset. Defensively, Wolves are a bit suspect. They're not the greatest team, but he's picking up attacking returns and playing in really advanced positions anyway.
Yes, he is indeed, and he could have very well come away with 2 goals and a massive haul in that game. He seems to be picking up the chances left, right, and centre. Everything seems to be going for him. He's absolutely crucial to everything Wolves are doing, especially offensively, because, like I say, they've got so many injuries out at the moment. They need to rely on him to produce the quality going forwards.
Yeah, and another defender or a combination of defenders that we had on last week as well is not Ait Nouri, Mitchell and Munoz. All these teams are doubling in game week 34. Really good to target these teams. Obviously, Crystal Palace do have two tough fixtures before that double in game week 34, so you might want to hold off on those two. But Rayan Ait Nouri, he's the guy you want to get right now because the fixtures are there as well. Okay, so moving on to another defender, it's Josko Gvardiol. Obviously, Manchester City, we saw a lot of rotation in the week. No Haaland, no De Bruyne, a lot of first-choice players on the bench. Gvardiol, though, we think could potentially hold down a spot a little bit longer, although he's definitely not prone to rotation. Ake is obviously injured at the moment, which means there's no necessarily first choice left-sided player, maybe other than Sergio Gomez, but we haven't seen much of him in the Premier League so far this season. What's your thoughts on Gvardiol, Ben? Do you think he's the best City defender you can go for right now?
I think it's probably up there. No City defender is guaranteed the minutes, but he seems relatively safe at the moment, which is always what we say about the Manchester City assets. Obviously, no double in 34, but a double further along the line potentially. So, yeah, it's a decent pick for the long term. If you're looking to free hit in 34, especially, you can afford to probably go to him and just capitalise on those decent City fixtures.
Yeah, and then another defender who also doubles in 37 potentially, like Vardiol, is Van Heck. He's 4.1 million. Brighton defensively this season are actually a lot better than they are offensively at the moment. Obviously, Van Heck got a clean sheet in the week against Brentford. Their fixtures are like up and down, which is kind of good for a rotational asset like Van Heck. You're going to have him on your bench most weeks. And obviously the Dublin 37, yes, I think he has Burnley away as well in an upcoming 4-game week. So some decent fixtures there. What's your thoughts on Van Heck, Ben? Would you have him as like an enabler on the bench?
Yeah, I mean, Brighton defensively have improved massively from the start of the season, which is always a good thing, and they're continually looking like they're improving. Van Hex also seems pretty safe and secure in the minutes, as well as being super, super cheap. So he's a great enabler for trying to get all those big hitters in the team. Okay, so moving on into midfield, and we've got one that currently the better performing Liverpool assets at the moment. It's Luis Diaz. His underlying stats have been fantastic over the last few weeks, as we mentioned in the previous sort of episodes of Transfer Target. Diaz is looking good at a relatively cheap price, and also, as the midfielder for Liverpool, doesn't mean you have to take up a striker spot if you're going for Darwin. Diaz could be a really good differential, especially with that tasty looking double in game week 34.
Yeah, I think you could easily argue a case of 3 Liverpool attackers over any defenders at the moment as well for that double. We're not too sure on the fitness of Trent. There's rumours that he's coming back for Palace, then United, so it's not really confirmed there. And then you've got to wait for him to build up his minutes as well. Similar sort of case with Robertson. We don't know when he's going to be returning or if he's sort of fit enough to play 2 games back to back. So, yeah, for me, I think on the free hit personally, I might be looking at a triple Liverpool attack if I know that the likes of Trent etc. aren't going to be fit for that week.
Yeah, if you are sort of stuck on a little bit of budget, McAllister might be the option that you go for. A lot cheaper, a lot more sort of enabling you to potentially spend a little bit more up top and in defence. However, the only downside is when Endo is out like he was in game week 31, McAllister ends up sitting in a deep role, so you have to bear that in mind. When Salah is off the pitch, there's definitely potential that he could be on penalties as well, which is a factor to take into consideration. Josh, what are your thoughts on Alexis McAllister?
Yeah, I think that's exactly. He's similar to like Declan Rice. They're both getting sort of consistent-ish returns in their teams, as well as Rodri, but you're paying a cut price for a reason. They're not going to be, the hauls that we've seen potentially from like a Luis Diaz or a Mo Salah. So yeah, for me, he probably won't come into my top three, but if you really need a Liverpool attacker, he's probably a good one to get for cheap.
And moving on into a midfielder that Josh has owned this week, it is Kai Havertz. A fantastic run of form at the moment for Havertz. Fantastic fixtures as well going forwards with the double in 34. There's not too much not to like about bringing in Havertz this week, is there, Josh?
Yeah, he obviously got the assist against Luton, got taken off at 65 minutes, which I think is a good thing if you're trying to own him long term. He's just going to play more and more minutes in the Premier League. Obviously, bear in mind that Arsenal will be in the Champions League as well, so there could be some rotation amongst all Arsenal assets. I don't think anyone's really safe, so it will be interesting to see. But when he is playing through the middle as a 9, he's involved in a lot of chances. Had, I think, 2 shots against Luton in 65 minutes, which isn't bad. Obviously, got the assist as well for Odegaard's goal, so there's a lot of threat there. And as you mentioned, his form at the moment has been incredible and better than any Arsenal attacker in the last 6.
Definitely. And another midfielder who produced an attacking return in game week 31. Pablo Sarabia looks to be a decent pick as well on set pieces for Wolves, who are injury ravaged at the moment. So yeah, he's a decent pick. The double in 34. Wolves look to be relatively decent going forwards, especially with Ait Nouri in attack as well. Sarabia could be that cut price. He's so cheap. Such a good enabler for anyone looking to go for a cheap midfielder.
Yeah, definitely. If you're trying to fill in as many of these premium assets that we're trying to get into our teams, a lot of managers went without Phil Foden last week, and we just saw how damaging that can be, just not having one of these amazing assets in our team. So in order to fill that, you need to have enablers like your Sarabias, like your Van Hecks in your team to get all these guys in. So I think he's a really decent asset, and if you're not free hitting in Game Week 34, he's probably a must-own out of that Wolves team other than Ait Nouri. Okay then, so moving on to the forwards. We've only got 3 this week, and they're all pretty similar to most weeks at the moment in the forward category because they've all got the same fixtures and they're all really good for quite a long time. So Darwin Núñez is up first. Obviously scored against Sheffield United in Game Week 31. Got the double in Game Week 34 as well. There is a potential that Diogo Jota does come back from injury before double Game Week 34, so there could be a chance that his minutes are a little bit less than what we're maybe used to. What's your thoughts on that, potential Jota return, Ben?
Yeah, I think the Jota return will impact Núñez owners, but I don't think it will before game week 34. His reintroduction back into the team for Jota will be managed very gradually. And I see Darwin coming off the 60-65 minute, as he usually does anyway, even when Jota has been out injured. So I wouldn't worry too much about that in the short term. In the long term, obviously, you've got to look at that and be a little bit wary in 35, 36, 37 and 38. But you can look to transfer him out by that time because obviously we're going to have that double in 37 and you're probably going to want to bring in a striker to capitalise on that. So for now, I think he's a great pick.
Yeah, and then another player who's been in banging form at the moment, he's in my team at the moment as well, is Alexander Isak. Obviously, he got those massive returns against West Ham and obviously scored again midweek against Everton. He racked up over 1.2 XG in that game as well. He could have easily had more returns than just the 1 goal. What's your thoughts on him, Ben? Are you afraid of not owning him at the moment? He's in really good form, right?
Yeah, a little bit. He is in great form at the moment. But obviously, you can't have all the attackers. You can only have 3, so you've got to go without one. And for those who don't own Isak, it's probably a bit hurting at the moment. But obviously, for those who are free hitting 34, he's a perfect striker to own. Those who are not, you probably don't own him at the moment. So really decent pick. And I think every manager will have him sort of at some point before the end of the season.
Yeah, and then our final forward on this list is Rasmus Højlund. Obviously, he got Liverpool this game week, which isn't an ideal fixture for Man United, despite scoring 4 against them in the FA Cup. However, though, he does rotate really well, or sort of transfer out Núñez for Højlund, and the fixtures are really good. Obviously, upcoming, he does have Sheffield United in Game Week 34 as well. So if you're looking for a striker that potentially doubles in Game Week 37, but has a decent fixture in Game Week 34, then Rasmus Højlund could be a good option. What's your thoughts on him, Ben?
Yeah, really decent option. I don't think you can go wrong with him as well. For me personally, I'm probably looking at those that are doubling in 34 rather than going for the one fixture because everyone loves a double game week. But if you are looking longer term, he's probably a really good pick. He's in decent form for Man United team that are improving. We'll see sort of how that goes towards the end of the season. But yeah, got no complaints about Højlund. A great asset and very clinical as well.
Okay, so that wraps up our Game Week 32 transfer targets. We managed to squeeze it in just after all the games tonight, so make sure you hit that subscribe button to check out our team selections that will be released tomorrow.
And as always, please remember to like, comment and subscribe. And I've been Ben.
I've been Josh.
And we'll see you guys
later. Have a good game week, everyone.
Oh, you may rise, but you'll never make me wanna stick